Dr. Sleep.
Here's Johnny's son. No, I'm just kidding.
This was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
I enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the type of movie.
I didn't think it was like great. Like
no, it wasn't.
Like,
It wasn't amazing or anything, but
like,
it was
in terms of like comparing it to The Shining, where it's going to go. I don't think it's going to go down as some like classic thriller.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun in this movie. Obviously, Ewan McGregor does great. I mean,
Ewan McGregor is well. When is he not good?
See, that's my thing. Is that he's usually pretty.
But like
solid.
the more and more, like every time he does something, I'm like, Ewan McGregor's in it, and then it's not. It's usually, I mean, outside of like Star Wars, it's not something I'm like. Well, I mean, Trainspotting was really good, and he does stuff that's good, but I'm usually not like super excited to see it, and then I'll watch it and I'll go, Ewan McGregor.
You're like, oh yeah, Ewan McGregor's great.
Yeah,
that's every single time. That's how
fantastic.
That's how I feel about him. Except, yeah, like you said, it's like in Star Wars where it's like, oh man, he's Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
he's great. But I thought to see where the character of Danny kind of ended up was fairly interesting. I liked how. I mean, he becomes an alcoholic, basically like his father.
Yeah, but his alcoholism wasn't quite like his dad in the sense that his dad was drinking to kind of escape his family, and he was drinking to escape the shine.
Yeah, he's drinking to escape the shine, which his ability to shine, which I thought was a pretty interesting way to describe why he was an alcoholic. It was a way of him to not have to deal with his power, which has been kind of done before and stuff, but it always is something kind of nice that I enjoy seeing. The story also, I didn't expect it to be kind of a vampire story.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But they handled it pretty well. You know, it's not like blood. They're like, it's steam, you know?
It's steam, and apparently people that shine, when they die or when they're dying or suffering pain or being tortured,
they emit
steam. A steam from within. And this is about
it's like a group of people that feast on it, basically, and they've been able to stay alive a long time and look the same. I mean, it's like a vampire. And I thought the actors they got to play the people hunting for him actually did a pretty good job. Oh, Rebecca Ferguson, it is the strangest thing because she actually, as the character and her actual acting ability, I thought was really good. She was she was pretty villainous, and she was you were kind of captivated every time she was on screen, but her accent would kept coming and go.
Now, it played off pretty well. Because those characters were supposed to be around hundreds of years, lived through.
Yeah, that's fair.
Middle Ages, and you could argue she's been around. She could have picked up accents from other lives. You don't really know it, but I don't know if that was purposely done.
No, I think she just had a little bit of hard time of hiding that.
But outside of that, she's
really good.
She's good, and you only really notice it. It's really bad at the beginning.
It's at the very beginning when she's talking to the little girl. But I don't know. It comes and goes here and there, but you don't care because you are really.
She has a presence.
Yes, she's just good. She is really good. I don't know if I would say she was the standout. I mean, there's not really a standout though.
Ewan McGregor is.
Oh, see, I don't know. I would put her and Ewan about the same. But the story itself was something that was it was intriguing because Danny, or Ewan McGregor's character, he also is finding himself, he has a connection with someone that's talking to him through Shining, you know,
and he's like, hello, my little pen pal.
Yeah, and it's a little girl that he kind of keeps in touch with, but he's never seen her, doesn't know her. And
it's little things. It's just hello and
how you doing. But they kind of insinuate that that he helps her out with some stuff because remember and it shows that part in the trailer where on the chalkboard it says murder or it's red rum, and it's red rum, and then he asks who, and she says baseball boy. So it makes me wonder if that's actually been, if she's always felt when that clan of, when Rose, Rebecca Ferguson's character, if they, whenever they're killing someone, if she feels that and is like letting Ewan McGregor know.
Possibly. I didn't, from watching this movie, I didn't take it that way.
Interesting. Because the way he responded when he was just like, he almost seemed like he was ready to jump into action.
Yeah.
I almost took it as like, this has almost happened before.
Yeah. Well, I took it as, I mean, she really responds when that's when they notice her. She was
she's slowly getting more and more powerful as well, right? I mean, she's kind of figuring out her way of shining, and that.
And her shine is brighter than other people's
she's
shine.
Apparently just as powerful as Danny was, because they insinuate Danny was like one of them,
and it was tarnished because he was a drinker.
Yeah,
and she was like, I don't know
how we missed you. Yeah. And which, looking back, that is kind of odd, because they would pick up on anyone.
Yeah.
And how you didn't.
Of course, but he didn't have any friends. He wasn't.
But they seemed to be
able. He wanted to completely. I took it as he wanted to completely not even acknowledge the fact that he had the shine.
But that, you know what's actually cool was that when he got to this new town and he got that job and working at the hospice, he found a way to use his power for good, which was when he's at a hospice and these people.
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, he's
and not in a dark way.
No, it's
he's
like
helping these people
go on to the next.
Yeah, it doesn't end.
He's just
because
they're all having the same because there's one guy that says I don't even believe in a heaven or a hell, but he goes, it's still scary.
Yeah,
and it's true. The idea of death.
It's a really sweet part of the story. Like a lot of Stephen King stuff, there are elements that are really
obviously
sweet.
The whole beginning with him becoming a recovering alcoholic clearly was something that was personal to Stephen King. You could tell that was something that was very personal to Stephen King. And it's a 2 hour and 30-minute movie, 2.5 hour movie, and the first 45 minutes was basically that. It was showing Danny basically becoming a recovering alcoholic.
Well, no, you got the beginning.
You're introduced to characters.
Well, it starts out with the clan, the group.
Yeah. It shows what they do to the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you get Danny, and then actually you go to the birthday party with, I can do that.
Well, because that's again, they're just introducing all the characters that you're going to see.
Yeah.
It shows where Danny's coming from. He's just a raging partier. You have the little girl who has powers.
I wouldn't even call it a partier, man. He was just drinking.
He was at that bar.
Yeah, he was partying.
I don't know, but then there was the girl that he was with. I mean, she was really partying. Yeah. So, that part's rough.
That's the most disturbing part of this movie.
What is it with Ewan McGregor and taking roles where he's envisioning?
Well, I mean, this is
a dead child, though. Yeah. Hallucinating a dead child.
This one's messed up because it's the mother that dies, but you find out, and he
didn't know what to do, so he just put the kid with the mother, but apparently they both die
because he sees it later.
Yeah, that was disturbing. It started out on a dark note, but it again, the first 45 minutes is just like that, and then it's figuring out the story of, and then the girl is starts fighting back against that group, and
she sees
the
baseball boy.
Yeah, who's played by Jacob Tremblay, who, I mean, he's in it for 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
And he crushed that scene. It is hard to watch, and it felt pretty real. He did a really good job.
That's a tough scene to watch. I mean, they're torturing
a kid
and killing a child,
and he sells it.
Yeah.
It was totally believable. But yeah, that's the moment where Abra, the little girl, she's, really starts realizing who these people are, what they're doing, and that brings on.
She gets a real good look.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the story really begins, is because she contacts Danny and it's we need to go.
We have to find these.
We have to find these people. We have to find this kid. We got to make sure he's actually laid to rest proper, and that's when you realize how powerful the little girl is. And those are the coolest scenes, or those astral projections scenes where she's entering people's minds or vice versa. Like the scene where Rebecca Ferguson is trying to find the girl.
Well, it seems like that's part of it is Rebecca Ferguson's been doing this hundreds and hundreds of years.
And this little girl can do it easy.
And this girl's just like toying with her.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty...
And
that's how it's portrayed is really cool. And how she's the little girl's playing tricks on her without even like...
And she's like, this is...
Not even being experienced in it. She just can... the way she's able to manipulate minds.
Rose basically says this is the most powerful thing, which is an obvious kind of movie thing, but it was effective. Like I was like, you're on board really for that part. Another thing that
get comfortable, baby.
Go ahead. The other thing that I actually, it's not really a complaint. I just think it's worth noting is you see Wendy Torrance, you see Jack Torrance. But they're not in today's age. Usually they'll do CGI versions of these people. No, they just got actors to portray.
In a sense, and we talked about this last night. In a sense, I'm glad
it was the right move, but you can't replace Jack Nicholson.
Well, the issue is, I thought the girl did a really good job of imitating the cries
of Shelley Duvall.
The
hysterics,
in the way she spoke, and I thought the mom did okay. But when the dad was trying to talk, and I don't think he did a bad job.
Do you know who that was?
Mm-hmm.
That was the main kid from E.T. He was in Haunting of Hill House as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he did a bad job. The problem is he doesn't have the voice that Jack's got.
No.
And Jack's able to, his cadence.
It's such an iconic character. It's hard to just.
And so there were times where you go, this is good. It doesn't sound like him. Like
no,
that was my biggest.
But I don't think he was trying. I think they were.
No, I don't think he was trying to either. But I'm saying I was glad they didn't completely CGI it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
This was more effective. I thought this was fine.
Another thing I do want to bring up, even though this is where the part of the movie that started to feel a little long, and I didn't quite think it was. I didn't think it was completely necessary that they needed to go there. I feel like the final.
We talked about this. It was completely unnecessary.
But it was still cool.
It was.
Was that Ewan McGregor decides and realizes that to defeat Rose.
Well, he doesn't realize anything. Remember the explanation that's given? That was another thing.
He basically was like, we have to awaken.
No. His explanation was, this place is dangerous for people like us, so it has to be dangerous for her.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's why we're going there?
Oh, they go to the Overlook, and they do a good job of, it looks like the Overlook in The Shining, and it was...
I thought it would have been awesome. And I turned to you, I said, is he going to walk in and this place is going to be like...
Pristine, like brand new?
And I was like really hoping that was going to happen, but it didn't. And he walked in and he's like, I got to go wake him up.
Yep.
And
that's what happened.
Yeah.
But, I thought that them arriving there was cool. Mm-hmm. But then,
the best part of them arriving there was the camera.
It was the opening camera shot of The Shining, where it's like the helicopter shot of them going
and it's
across
got
the lake, and it's the music's playing. Oh, I got excited. Yeah. I did get excited, but it kind of let me down.
It was. It did let me down a little bit because I was like, you guys are all in for a treat. Like, this is going to be... Something else that was interesting, there's a moment where Danny is interviewing for a job, and he is in the exact same room his dad is interviewing. And it's completely different town, completely different thing. But
it's Bruce Greenwood.
Where it's filmed,
yes, the room itself looks like Mr. Ullman's office in The Shining.
Yeah.
It's the exact same office, exact same layout, and I think Danny's in the exact same chair Jack was in. Mm-hmm. And you're right, that was something, and Mike Flanagan directed this, and he wrote it too, and Flanagan, I think he's a pretty good like horror director. He did Ouija 2, he did Oculus, he did Haunting of Hill House. Like he knows how to make a pretty good horror film, and in his movies he'll do stuff like that, kind of like Easter eggs or things that are hidden or things that if you know about a certain subject you'll pick up on. And this was one of those instances. Right when it happened, I turned to you. I was like, "That's the guy." And I honestly, it happened so early on. I was hoping stuff like that would keep happening, and it didn't. Mm-hmm. But that was still kind of cool that they included that.
It's weird. I don't want to say it's weird, but this movie was just interesting to me in the sense that the first 2/3 of it, it just feels like a continuation of a story for this character. And then the last third, fourth of the movie, it like shifts and it's like, oh no, it's going to be a sequel. Like it's going to be.
You're saying
it never felt.
It never felt like a sequel to The Shining until the very end.
Yeah,
I would agree.
It felt more just like, oh, this is Danny grown up. This is what's happening. This is the world they're living in. But it never felt like this was a direct sequel to that movie.
Yeah.
And maybe if we read the book, we could see, because I know he tried to do Flanagan tried to do
a decent
job of blending elements
of the movie and the book.
And both books.
Yeah. And
so it would appeal to both people. And it just, the tone, it kind of shifted a little bit, and I don't want to say it ruined it, but it was just,
I would argue
the
first like 2/3, 3/4 of this movie was more thriller-ish, and it was good. Like, I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. And I don't think, I put it this way, I don't think the ending like made the movie worse for me. I just enjoyed the first 2/3 of the movie more.
Well, I was like going back to this is cool, but I could just watch The Shining.
Well, no, it was cool, but it also was like, is this necessary? But the more I thought about it, it kind of was for Danny.
Yeah,
you know, and I won't touch on that on certain spoilers, but when you really think about it, it does make sense. I think he kind of wanted to go there, especially after the events of what had already happened.
Maybe it makes sense for him, but it doesn't make sense in the grand story of what was happening before.
It was effective. It worked.
Yeah, but I mean, we'd already learned how, like, these things weren't exactly hard to kill.
Well, Kyle, think about this. He's in trouble. If he doesn't get out of that, if he gets out of the whole situation, he's going to jail.
No, I agree. He's going to jail. Little girl's never gonna see her family again. Like,
so for that,
I still could. The way this movie ends, you go, yeah, that girl. There's a lot of legal things that girl's got to jump through.
There would be a lot of questions.
Yeah,
like,
even though she could probably shine on them and.
Well, that was the other kind of cool thing, was that they insinuate that different people can shine, but they also
can project.
Well, they also have like different versions of shining.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was the girl that could almost like convince people what to do.
Yeah. And
then there were people could like enter people's mind. You know, like that was kind of cool. Yeah. But they didn't really dive into it. But yeah, you know, it was a fun movie. In no way is it amazing. There are flaws, but it's also that type of thing that
you just watch it and enjoy it.
It was fun. Yeah. I had a fun time watching this.
What do you give this?
I'd give it like a B. Like, it's the definition of a B movie.
Yeah.
You know?
And not B movie as in a bad movie.
It's not like campy. It's like, it's not trying to be anything more
than it is. And I thought it was
it's effective that way. I agree. So, yeah. That's about... I don't think there was anything else. The last thing I did want to touch on was The Office that you did just mention. So, pretty much everything I could think of, yeah. Yeah, so that's our take on Dr. Sleep. Yeah, I would say go see it, especially if you like The Shining. It's something kind of cool to watch this story play out.
I will say, as much as like you said, the ending is effective in the sense when the camera starts to shift and the music starts playing.
You get excited.
Yeah.
But then you do have that realization of, oh, but it's not going to be as good.
Yeah.
It's not going to be The Shining.
No, but you get that, ooh, they're going back.
Yeah, they're going back. Exactly. It's like the boys are back in town type thing. But yeah, that was our take on Dr. Sleep. And catch us next time on Our Take.